What's up, Spinners? I'm really excited because I've got another great episode for you today. But first, I want to thank you. With your help and support of the show, Spinning It has officially been downloaded over 10,000 times in its 6 weeks of existence. I'm humbled by this response. I set out every week to produce a great show for all of you and to hopefully impact you in a positive way. The overwhelming response I've received from our listeners in the forms of emails and direct messaging saying that they were touched in some way by an episode, or that they could relate to myself or one of my guests in a particular story that we tell, means that we are doing exactly what I set out to do when I started this show. Here's a recent email I received from Dave in Wisconsin. Yale, I stumbled upon your show about 3 weeks ago, and now my son and I are weekly listeners. My son is a junior in high school and has been playing football since he was 6. When he first started, he said that his dream was to play football for Wisconsin and be a Badger. It's been such an amazing journey for not only him, but for myself in watching him grow up into the young man he is today, and seeing him continue to work hard and have success both on the field and in the classroom. We love listening to you talk to your guests about receiving your first letter of interest from a college, and the feelings and emotions that went along with it. My son received his first letter from a college this season, and we were all so excited for him because we know how hard he's worked and how such a small percentage of high school football players receive serious letters of interest. I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I shed a couple tears of joy. It really doesn't matter to me that it's a football thing. What matters to me is that he's having success, doing what he loves, and being recognized for his accomplishments. I think that's really what every parent wants for their children. Dave, thank you so much for sharing that special moment, and please keep me updated on your son's career. I would love to give him a shout out on the show in about a year when he signs with the school he chooses. You think getting that first letter is an emotional experience? Just wait until signing day. Well, it's official. High school football playoff time in Texas, y'all. This is the time when athletes cement their legacy that will be remembered forever. My guest today is one of my 7 QBs this season to make the playoffs. He is Cornerstone High School QB Ryan Huerta of San Antonio, Texas. Ryan is the perfect example of you should never judge a book by its cover. When I first met Ryan, he was a freshman at Cornerstone, and my initial thoughts were, this kid looks really young, and physically, he's pretty small. Then Ryan proceeded to pick up a football and throw me one of the tightest spirals I've ever caught from a high school QB. I started to smile and think to myself, this could be really interesting and a lot of fun. A true David versus Goliath story. I've been training Ryan for over 2 years now, and he has really molded himself into a finely tuned, polished QB that I'm happy to call one of mine. Ryan has helped lead his Cornerstone Warriors to the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. This is not a program known for strong football, but behind Ryan's exceptional play and leadership, they are now a program on the rise. On episode number 7, Ryan and I discuss the secrets to having success as an undersized QB, what it's like playing private school football in Texas, ending Cornerstone's 10-year playoff drought, his playoff goals, and much, much more. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy my conversation with Ryan Huerta.
Step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey, hey!
Just a freak, you know? It's just a freak. The guys that I like to look at in the NFL are the smaller guys. Because smaller guys like Russell Wilson and Drew Brees have to do everything right to maximize what's going on, you know? They can't afford to have a low elbow. They can't afford to not get their back leg through on a throw, stuff like that. They've got to maximize everything they've got. So that's why their throwing form is going to be, you know, some of the best stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Let's get this thing going. What's up, guys? I've got Ryan Huerta, the Cornerstone QB, in the studio today. What's happening, dude?
Nothing, actually. Just on a normal Sunday night, just watching football.
Normal Sunday night? Okay, I like it. Ryan has gotten his Warriors into the playoffs. This is the first time, I think you were telling me, or your dad, 10 years?
10 years.
That's big-time stuff, dude. Like I was telling you guys earlier today in training, and I was telling your dad, if you go to the playoffs and not only go but win in the playoffs at a school that's not used to going to the playoffs or not used to doing a lot of winning, that's where you're remembered, man. You'll be remembered forever, winning like that. So I'm excited for you. It's gonna be an awesome deal. We've just been breaking down a ton of film. Ryan's got a playoff game this weekend. He's going up to Dallas to go handle business. So we've been knocking out film, getting a good game plan. And I think we saw some good things that we can take advantage of. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. There's
No specifics. We're not going to talk specifics,
No.
but yeah, what did I think? What did you get from that little film breakdown?
that they're human, just
Yeah.
because everyone at the school's looking at this number one seed in Dallas and all
Mhm.
big and bad, and there's little flaws that we could take advantage of.
Definitely. Every team has their tendencies. It's just, are you taking the time to identify all those little things? I met Ryan 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. His mom and dad contacted me, and we came out. You guys came out to Clark High School. I was training one of Clark's quarterbacks at the time. Here, wait 1 second. We got to get rid of that squeak. That chair is squeaking like crazy. Hold up. Keep talking about when we met. We're gonna fix that.
Okay, well, I think it was a Saturday, and I had my hair shaved because I lost a bet at school, and I remember the first time.
Stand up. Keep talking.
I remember the first thing you had me do was just throw with you, and I always thought it was pretty cool because I always pride myself in throwing a good spiral, and it was really cool how that was the first thing you kind of noticed about me. And then after that, I just remember just relaxing and throwing.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing. Okay, I'll break it down when I first met Ryan. So Ryan came out. He had I don't think your dad was there, but your mom was there, and I think your sister was there.
Yeah.
And I was just finishing up training, and I was with Eric Mitchell, who's at Beloit College now. Just finishing up with him. Ryan walks out, and I could tell he was excited, but I could tell you were nervous though too, which is it's weird. Sometimes kids come out and they're so nervous when they come out, and I'm like, no, this is going to be an awesome time. This is going to be a great relationship we're going to form. But I understand, it's kind of a little nerve-wracking at first because you don't know what to expect and stuff. But anyway, Ryan comes out and has his head shaved, and he's a littler dude. He's got this big, cheesy grin on his face, and mom's excited. But he was also really, really quiet. You're also real quiet during, like when I was first meeting you. But, one thing that I'm big on when I first meet a quarterback is tell me your goals. What are you getting into this for me for? And I want guys that have big goals. I want to do big things. I'm not interested in working with you if you want to just be a JV quarterback. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to do really, really big things. And, he told me, University of Tennessee, I want to go play quarterback. I want to play at Tennessee. And I was like, wow, okay, well, why Tennessee? Because that's kind of a weird thing for a kid from Texas to say. Normally kids they're saying UT Austin, So why did you tell me University of Tennessee?
Because my favorite quarterback when I was growing up was Peyton Manning.
Yeah. And Peyton Manning, University of Tennessee grad. And when he told me that, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. I said, okay, well, we're going to hit it off definitely because I've worked the Manning Academy for 5 years. I know those guys. I know their system. I know what they do. So this could be a cool relationship. But like I said, when I first, I do an eye evaluation when I see somebody too. And how tall are you?
I'm like 5'6".
So Ryan's a littler guy. And he walks out, and I see guys all the time, that come out, and you can't judge a book by its cover. So Ryan starts spinning it a couple times, and I could tell immediately, whoa, this guy's a spinner. Like some guys can just have a natural way of spinning, and you were a natural spinner. How did you, where did you develop this spinning technique that you were able to do? I wasn't doing it like that when I was your age.
I remember I had this pit bull mix at my grandparents' house, and I would just
like a pit bull mix, that you're listening to on the radio, like pit bull. Lame joke.
Like a dog, and it was a countryside. It's really big backyard, and I'm just throwing the tennis ball, and I'm just throwing it, and I remember my uncle coming out because it was his dog. And I was always looking, he always looked at me kind of funny, and I'm like, why are you looking at me funny? He's like, you could throw it pretty far. And I was like, okay. And then after that, actually, my grandfather saw if I could throw different things like a baseball or a football. And we started throwing a football, and he's a baseball player, so he could sling it and put the little cross on my chest, which I had a few times, just because he threw it so hard.
Oh, okay, all right.
God, it's hitting
Yeah.
me in the chest, and he actually taught me how to spin the spiral, make a spiral on the football.
Nice. What's your grandpa's name?
It was Michael
Michael what?
Barrera.
Michael Barrera. Shout out Michael Barrera for teaching this dude. You know what you were doing because this guy can spin it. So the format of this podcast is normally you are going to give kind of a breakdown of your story and kind of where it all started. So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, and then actually around when I was 1 or 2, me and my mom and my dad, it was just the three of us. We moved to Houston for a year just because, they had me at a very young age. So
Okay.
they had me there, and then we came back down here just because of job opportunities. Because my dad went to UTI for the college up in Houston.
Okay.
And then he came down here and worked as a mechanic for a few years. And I remember the first thing I did was just play sports. Like, they put me in every kind of sport, and every season, if it was basketball season, I tried out for basketball.
Like how young? How young were you when you were doing all this?
I was like 4.
4.
Yeah,
Okay, so
first,
4, and you were rocking. You were doing basketball.
I was doing basketball.
Okay.
I was falling down, soccer, tried t-ball.
Sure.
And then actually the last sport they had me try out was football. And I was around 7 years old, and I remember actually the first time I remember looking at a football player, and I saw these pads, and I thought that was just him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to play that sport.
Yeah.
Because
they're
huge.
Yeah.
They're huge. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so scary. And I remember as soon as my dad says, oh, you're trying out for football, I remember my eyes widening and just looking around, just like when we actually came to the camp and when everyone's trying out, I'm just looking at everyone to see if anyone was that big. And
No one was that big.
no one was that big.
Yeah. And you were 7 when this happened?
I was 7.
Okay, so before that, before you had signed up for this league, did you have a favorite sport up to that point?
Actually, no. I just like.
You're just kind of playing it all, trying everything.
Just seeing what happened. I was actually I preferred to draw. Like I was
Okay.
an inside guy messing with Legos and drawing little pictures.
Okay. How early did you start drawing?
Actually, my parents said that ever since I was able to crawl or open my eyes, they said I was able just to pick up a pen and just draw lines.
Wow. So ever since you were starting to open your eyes. So I have a baby girl, Vera. She's 9 months old. She opened her eyes. She was already opening her eyes like in the womb. And she was opening her eyes on day 1. So if you had a pen in your hand drawing day 1, you are like a stud, like a savant.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
Okay, I got you. All right, so maybe when he was a little older than that, but so you started drawing. What kind of stuff were you drawing?
I was drawing dogs, I was drawing rooms, I was drawing cars a lot. I remember drawing a lot of cars. And then I remember drawing sports players just because every sport I did, I would draw a sports player or the.
I did stuff like that too, so that's why I'm interested in that. Yeah.
And then actually, I think that's what got me into football the most because it was a lot more fun drawing a football player than it was a basketball or soccer player.
Sure. Do you remember any football players that you drew?
Actually, I remember drawing LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Tom Brady. Those are the only 2 players I like drawing just because of the uniforms. They look nice.
Very cool. Okay, I like it. So you were doing a lot of drawing. That was maybe one of your first passions. Do you still draw?
Oh yeah, I still draw.
What do you draw now?
I draw a lot of houses. Just houses and cars again, and every now and then I'll draw animals just to see if I get the shading right on the whiskers.
Okay. When you go to school, is that something that you're thinking about doing? Maybe architect or something? If you like drawing homes and stuff, or engineer, or I don't know, something like that.
Something like that. If
I don't know. Okay. Cool. Okay, so you're 7 years old. Your dad signed you up for football. Is it tackle football?
It's tackle football.
Tackle football.
Right out the bat.
What's the name of the team?
It was the Northwest Vikings.
Northwest Vikings. Okay, I've heard of them. Northwest Vikings. What were your colors? Purple and gold, I guess.
Purple and gold.
Purple and gold. What was your number?
I was Actually, they said I was number 8 because when I picked my number, I was 8 years old, and I was like, I want to be number 8. And then they got all mad at me. They're like, no, you're doing 40 because. The first practice, they already assigned us in positions just because, basic players.
So they assigned you positions without seeing you do anything?
Well, they had little drills on the first day of practice.
Oh, okay.
They had like cone drills and stuff like that, and they put me at linebacker and tight end just because I was a shorter, stockier guy, and I just hit the big.
Were a stockier guy?
Well, I was at age 8, yeah.
Okay.
Stocky.
Really? Okay.
And And I remember, actually, the first time I threw a football, I threw it and the spiral spun like a saucer.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
a flying saucer.
I've done a couple of those. Yeah.
I remember looking, I was like, oh, that was cool, because I hit the coach straight in the chest. I was like, oh, yeah.
And he was like, oh, no.
He looked at the head coach and was like, no, sorry.
Give him a lineman number.
Yeah, so I got 40, and actually my dad and my mom were always mad because I didn't play a lot just because I was shorter. But as soon as they put me in, we won almost every game.
Nice. So this is that linebacker?
This is linebacker.
So you were dominating a linebacker.
7
years old,
7 years
Northwest
old.
Vikings.
Scratches all over my helmets and torn jerseys.
Did you have fun playing it?
It was so much fun.
Defense is fun. Yeah, I know. I played defense too. I loved it.
I remember hearing so many stories, because I don't remember half of the stuff I did, but I just remember hearing stories and remember seeing little glimpses and stuff like that, just of me just diving over people and stuff like that.
Do your parents have any of that on film or anything?
I think they do.
That'd be cool.
Because I always remember them carrying a camera, but I think we lost the entire film.
Oh no.
So
My dad was pretty good about filming everything, like filming all my different sports. If he was there, he was going to try to film it, unless he was coaching, but he was trying to film everything. And back when I grew up, we the recorder actually had like a little video that you used. That's your dad. Ryan's dad's texting right now to make sure. Let's look at this real quick to make sure he's not outside waiting. We're outside ready when you're finished. No hurry. We were parked in the driveway. Didn't want to knock, so take your time. We're at okay. Okay, no worries. They're waiting outside. They're welcome to come in if they wanted to, but we're rocking and rolling. Shout out Santos. Look at that, dude. I'm giving you, and Michelle, for letting Ryan come on for the podcast, and we even talked about your text right there. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so my dad, when he was filming stuff, it was on like little bitty tapes that you had to put into kind of a larger VHS tape and then put into your VCR to play.
Yeah.
So we probably have like 50 or 60 of these little bitty tapes, like little mini VHS tapes all over the place. It was crazy, but he was really good about filming all that. Okay, 7 years old, Northwest Vikings, balling at linebacker. What happens the next year? You're progressing here. What's going on?
Next year, we actually moved to the Northwest Raiders. Like a new team, new everything, and actually, I just played linebacker for 1 year, just chilling out, just hit people, and that's all I remember was just that was like because I did not like school just because it was so frustrating.
Why?
Because so it was around 5th grade, I think, or 5th or 4th grade, and actually it was kind of funny because every year I either had a good teacher or a bad teacher, and it was kind of like that same pattern. First year I played football, I had a really bad teacher, so I took almost all my.
Do you want to give your teacher a shout out, the bad teacher?
No,
I'm just joking.
I want to give her a shout out.
I'm just joking.
I remember having, elementary madness and just going crazy, and just remember just taking all the elementary anger out on the football field. And
okay, that's good.
So I got
channel your anger.
So I got praise for it, so I thought it was a good thing. Mm-hmm. So then I'd always kind of held in all that stuff and just played it out on the field.
Cool.
And that's what I did my second year of football, just hit people, and actually that's when I started realizing that I hit pretty hard, at least for a short guy.
Can you hit hard still?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I mean I could.
I think I've seen you truck people before on the field, right?
I think that's just adrenaline.
Okay.
Yeah, it's adrenaline.
Okay. Well, you're hitting people hard though, so that's good. Okay. You're on the Raiders now. You're 8 years old. We're getting closer to that middle school. What are you deciding that football is kind of your number one love? What's happening here?
Actually, I was just happy playing, and then my dad is a diehard Lions fan.
Oh, really? How's that work? Lions?
He's a Barry Sanders fan.
Okay.
That was the first team he saw. Barry Sanders, big fan of him. And
yeah, he's a stud.
He told me the first time I ever watched an NFL game, we're watching the Detroit Lions versus I think the Cowboys or the Packers or the Bears on Thanksgiving Day, and he's like, the Lions are the best team in the NFL.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure this is when they went 0-16, and I'm just watching them. And actually, we moved around this time, and when we moved, we got DirecTV, and there was this channel called NFL Network. And I would always just switch to that channel, just fall asleep, and just... I remember this one spring, there were just like so many top 10 lists of best players or best moments or best times in history, and I just remember looking at all this, or best fall league teams, and I remember looking at the Lions and being number 1, 0-16. I remember coming up to my dad. I'm like, Dad, the Lions are not. they suck.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
And I remember him
Just crushed.
just crushed.
Yeah.
Just him just laughing at me. He's like, well, I mean, we're rebuilding year. That's all he's always said. And then actually, I was like, all right, you know what, rebuilding year. And I was a Lions fan for a while, and we went to Old Navy because that's where they had like cool jerseys and stuff like that.
Old Navy, the clothing store?
Yeah, Old Navy clothing store. And there was this blue jersey. I saw the blue. I automatically thought it was the Lions.
Lions, yeah.
I picked it up.
Was this like last week, Ryan?
No, this was not last week. I remember this is because this is my little story.
I'm joking. Yeah, go ahead.
So you buy this jersey not knowing that it was Peyton Manning's jersey. And I realized it by the little symbol. And then because of the little symbol, I looked it up. And then when I was looking at like on Google, just because I had a laptop,
Sure.
big little computer, dinosaur blocks.
Yeah.
And then I remember looking it up, and then there's these little plastic things or these little paper things. I was like, what in the world are those? And I clicked on them, and it was little cards, like little football cards on the computer. And then that's when I started getting into collecting cards.
Okay.
And
see, I didn't realize, like, my generation and the generations before and before me, huge baseball card, football card collectors. Like, I've got up in my attic cases and cases and cases of all sorts of football cards and baseball cards and stuff like that. But y'all's generation, I don't know, don't really do that as much. I know the younger kids now, they don't buy baseball cards at all. Like, okay, but that kind of got you into kind of collecting cards then.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
remember collecting cards, and this was when I went into middle school. It was my 6th grade year.
Where'd you go to middle school?
Stevenson Middle School.
Stevenson, okay. I coach a quarterback there at Stevenson Middle School. Shout out, Kylie. Yeah, you're going to love this shout out. All right, the Wildcats, right?
Wildcats,
I know them well.
I remember just looking at like all the banners on the gym wall and thinking like, I'm going to be one of those guys.
Nice.
And then I remember collecting the cards and always just looking behind them because they always had little stories.
Stats, and stories.
And always look at the stories to see if they had little things about them having a banner or stuff like that. And it was this one rookie card, and it was some quarterback. I don't remember who it was, but I remember flipping it over, and it's saying in the back that he played quarterback, and it was like his favorite player was John Elway, and he played quarterback, had the same number and everything. And I was like, huh. And I was like, who's my jersey? Because Peyton Manning was the only NFL jersey I actually had at the time. Okay. And I'm watching him, and I'm watching, what he could do, and I'm like, wow, so he's pretty good. Yeah. And I remember... He's okay. And I was like, yeah, he's pretty good. And then I remember actually watching, in 2009, watching almost every single game they had. And I remember watching the 4th and 2 game where Tom Brady went for it on 4th and 2, didn't make it, and Peyton Manning scores, Reggie Wayne, and that's the night. I stayed up till like 12 o'clock in the morning to watch Peyton Manning beat Tom Brady. Nice. Boop, boop. And that's when I fell in love with football, and I was like, this is going to be...
How old were you? That was 6th grade.
That was 6th grade.
6th grade. Man, the Manning-Brady rivalries over the last... 10, 15 years have just been, if Manning and Brady are playing each other, even now that they're, older and kind of coming to the end of their careers, I'm watching. I'm glued to the edge of my seat. And it's so crazy because you know how it is. You're not playing another quarterback. You're focused on the defense. Like, I never watched what the other quarterback was doing or anything, but, the media hypes it up as these two guys playing against you. But having them on the field, literally, not the same time, but fighting, it's pretty impressive to see who's going to step it up a little bit more, So if you were a Peyton Manning fan, you're probably not a Tom Brady fan, or how's that work?
I respect Tom Brady.
Okay, cool,
but
cool.
I don't like him that much.
Okay, Stevenson Middle School, 6th grade, collecting cards. Peyton Manning's my guy. 7th grade. Talk to me. What sports are we playing?
I'm playing football only, and I just remember playing football.
Okay. I'm like, get a little closer to that mic.
I'm playing football
there
only.
We go. Now he sounds good.
All right, and then actually, I was like, if this guy liked this player, this was his favorite player, I was like, I'm going to try out for quarterback. Because in 6th grade and 5th grade, I did receiver and some running back just to try it out. And then doing quarterback, we moved again, and me and my dad had this room or this space to where our neighbors had this fence, and it was about a few, maybe 20 yards away from our front door. Okay. And my goal was to touch the fence and then throw it from like right there.
How far was it? 20 yards?
20 yards.
20 yards is a big throw.
20 yards. And
just to let you know, Ryan can throw that like with his left hand now. Go, keep going.
Okay, so I'm throwing. That's my goal, and I never really was able to reach the fence. So I'm always throwing like maybe 15, maybe 10, just hitting them like perfectly.
And once again, this wasn't like last week, was it?
No.
Okay, cool.
And so we're throwing, and he's like, Ryan, you're hurting me. I was like, it's fine, Dad, it's fine. And then he'll hit me too, and like hurt my hands. I remember always getting little blisters on my fingertips. And I remember just throwing and throwing after every school day, every practice, every summer day. All we would do is just throw.
And it's not really it's not really interested in being a quarterback. It's just in being able to reach to accomplish this feat.
Just
cool.
Because if I told myself if I could reach this, I could be able to play, Team A, Stevenson Middle School football.
Quarterback or just football?
Quarterback.
Okay, all right.
That was my
and
mindset.
what was that pool like for you wanting to play? Is it because of the Peyton Manning thing? Was it because
it was the Peyton Manning thing. I really really enjoyed watching him play. I was like, you know what, I wanted to be like him. Like,
sure.
He's
Greg Gata tried to be like.
And I was like, I want to be like him. And I remember watching so many documentaries, reading books,
Mm-hmm.
reading little coloring books and stuff like that, and just remember just like this is the guy I'm gonna be like. I'm
Awesome.
gonna be exactly like him.
Awesome.
And actually, the beginning of 7th grade year, there was 3 quarterbacks. There was me. There was this guy who was really tall. I don't remember how tall he was, but he was a little bit taller than me. And then there was this guy who came from Utah to play football over here. I'm not sure if it was just because of his family moving, but that's what he said. And I remember playing and throwing. I'm like, I'm better than these guys. I was like, I'm better than you, and I'm better than him. I was like, I got this on lock. And then, but since I was a little shorter, I was, I think, the shortest one out of all 3 of them, and they put me at receiver. And, then, and I was like, okay. I was like, if they're not gonna give me a shot, I'll just try camps. And I remember.
Real quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's talk about this. There are so many quarterbacks that go through this I'm a shorter guy thing, I probably once a month get a call from a parent who says, my son is talented, but they're a little shorter, or they haven't been able to get past this short thing. Their coaches can't see past it. I had that problem a little bit when I wasn't short. I was just kind of a skinnier guy in 7th and 8th grade. So I definitely know how that affected me and how tough that was kind of for me. But what's it like, coming up as a shorter guy and having to, kind of deal with that kind of stuff? Because I don't know, but a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it.
I remember the first time I threw football, it got batted down in the practice. And I'm like, okay, that's not happening again. So it was really just adjusting, and just actually it got kind of annoying every time I was changing in the locker room. They're like, oh, you're a little short to play quarterback. I'm like, I'm just as good as the other two. It's like, I'm fine. It's like,
sure.
You could trust me. And then that's what really bothered me, is like they didn't really trust me, even though I felt like I had one of the best arms in the school.
Sure.
And I'm throwing and I'm working out as much as I can after practice, throwing over little dummies I could make. And I remember just saying to myself, like, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to show that just because I'm a few inches shorter does not mean I can't play.
Awesome.
So I always kind of have that at the back of my head every time I'm practicing or playing, and just saying, like, I could do it. So
beautiful.
I could do it.
I still use that skinny 7th grade Yale. Man, I still use them daily if I need to go work out or if I need to prove somebody wrong. Or I had coaches in 7th grade tell me, it ain't going to happen for you. I had a coach one time in the middle of a pregame pep talk say, yeah, well, we don't have Troy Aikman as quarterback, but, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, like, did you just insult me before we go out on the field? Like, that's how you're going to pump us up? And I still remember that guy, till this day. And I still use that fuel of, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to keep working. So, so I like that, though, that you're not using it as an excuse. You're using it as fuel for your fire to get better. Okay? 7th grade, they put you out at receiver. How'd the season go for you?
We lost, I think, almost every game.
And
I got to play one snap at quarterback just because the guy got hurt for one play because he messed
How
up
did the
his
QB
ankle.
do?
He wasn't that good.
He wasn't that good.
He didn't throw to me. That's why. So
Oh, God. Well, if you didn't win any game, that's what I always tell guys. If you're on a team and you're competing for that quarterback position and the team's terrible and you don't win any games, that spot is wide open. A guy should not feel comfortable on a team as the quarterback if they're losing a lot of games. So, okay. Did you play any other sports in 7th grade?
Actually, no. Just
football.
Just football.
Okay.
Just chilled out and played football.
8th grade comes around. You're still at Stevenson?
Actually, that's when I changed schools, because 7th grade,
8th
grade summer.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother goes to the Cornerstone church, and she was like, "Oh, there's a football camp that you should go to." I was like, "Oh, okay," because football camps.
I just want to do football camps. Heck yeah.
And I remember just going there, just throwing the ball. They're like, "Oh," because like at first they're like, "Oh, what position do you play? Go to your position spot and just work with the coach," because they had like they had the high school coaches teaching the middle schoolers like what to do, what to help you out on, and stuff like that. And I remember throwing and throwing. I remember after there's about 3 practices. Like, this is a 3-practice camp. And I remember throwing, and I'm like, I was like, that was a pretty good ball. I was like, oh, that was a good ball. I was like, that was another good ball. And I remember after all 3 practices, the middle school head coach comes up to me and was like, he's like, you throw.
What's his name?
His name is Coach Alderready.
Okay, cool.
And he was like, you throw a pretty good ball, kid. I was like, thanks, coach. He's like, are you coming to the school? I was like, actually, no, I go to Stevenson. He's like, okay, I'll put in a good word with your mom.
Like a private school doing that recruiting. That's what I like. Okay.
So he's talking to, actually, that's when my mom came in. She was like, oh, did you have a problem with Ryan? And it was like, oh, no. It was like, and then that's when
I like how she assumed there was a problem. Were you a problem child?
I was.
Were you really?
I was a big problem.
Wow. I would not. Okay. We might think a problem is different things. Tell me something that you caused a problem at.
Okay. I was accused of beating up a kid in the bathroom when I was like in 3rd grade.
Okay, I don't want to hear accused. Did you or did you not beat up a kid in the bathroom?
Okay, so he pushed me. I pushed him. It was an evenly matched little.
That sounds lame. Give me another example.
Okay, I would mess with fire a lot. And then my parents didn't like that.
Be more specific. Mess with fire. Come on, like I shot firecrackers off and stuff like that. Okay. Me and some of my buddies accidentally shot off fireworks and burnt down half of the field, like in front of our house. It almost burnt down the neighborhood. How about that?
Well, not that bad.
Okay.
I'll just burn the pencil and just let it burn and like touch the table, which was wood. And I was
in school?
In school at the house.
It's a no-no.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's still not very bad, but all right.
In my mom's eyes, it was like the worst thing ever.
Good. So. Okay. She's a good lady. Okay, so she says, "Is Ryan? Did Ryan beat up another kid in the bathroom?" He says, "No, actually, your son's talented. Go."
And he's like, "Actually, we would like for him to come to the school. It's like, we get our middle school quarterbacks kind of freshmen, and we would just like for him to play and just see if he likes the school."
Did you know anything about Cornerstone School or Cornerstone football at that time? Nothing. You just went to the camp.
I was like, you know what? If they want to give me the shot just by just seeing what I could do, like I would definitely take their opportunity then. Stevenson. And so I remember talking to my grandma because she's the one that got me into this camp, and she's like, "Oh yeah, the Cornerstone School's good. It's really like it's really high academically wise. It's like really good, and athletically wise, like it's okay. But I mean, that's why you go in there for." She was like, "That's why you're going there for it." I was like, "Okay." Good
attitude. I like it. So, grandma, give your grandma a shout out. What's her name?
Anna Barrera.
Anna Barrera. Shout out Anna Barrera. Look at you, helping Ryan follow his dream. I like it. Grandmas are the best. My grandmas are the best as well. Shout out Neen. Shout out Mama Peg. Love you guys. Keep going.
Okay, so it's 8th grade year. I'm meeting new friends, new everyone, and actually, I was hearing rumors, not like bad rumors, but everyone, like the teachers would come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're Ryan, right?
You're that kid that beat up that kid in the bathroom in 3rd grade, right?"
No. Well, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Ryan. You're trying out for quarterback for our school, right?" I was like, "Yes, sir," or "Yes, ma'am."
And so you did go to a Cornerstone, like okay, yeah, so they talked to your parents and you said, "All right, we are going to go to Cornerstone for 8th grade." Okay.
So as soon as I knew, I was like, I'm gonna go here for 8th grade, and like it's definitely like I want to come here. And my parents made because for private, at least for Cornerstone, we had a meeting with the principal, and we had to talk about the reasons why we wanted to join the school and why we wanted to, just to be part of this private school.
Sure.
And I gave the reason, like, I wanted to know God more, and actually I thought I had a better chance playing football and stuff like that. And
now, did you know what were your thoughts about going from public school to private school?
I was expecting it to be really, really weird and like high and tight people with they don't say cuss words.
Okay.
Or they stub their toe and they say "oh geez."
Okay. Like oh geez. Did I say that? No, I don't say that. Okay.
Okay, so I remember.
But it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that. The first thing that I did with the school was football practice. And the football practice started in a little bit middle of the summer, and I went there. And I remember practicing and throwing, and I was like, "There's no other quarterback." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm good."
Nice. All the reps. I like it.
So I took all the reps, and I remember the coach making a running on joke that entire season, like, "Who's throwing that pretty spiral?" And the entire team would be like, huh, they'd like look at me like, oh, it's Ryan. Just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was a new kid, they're making fun of me.
And you do throw a pretty spiral.
And I remember,
Yeah.
And then I remember just throwing, and I remember like, oh, this is pretty fun. And after a while, I started hanging out with the guys and just realized like I had more in common with these guys than I did in public school.
Okay.
Just because of the same interests.
Okay,
and stuff
cool.
like that.
Cool.
Because one of our starting linemen, his name was Josh Perez, and he was a Colts fan. And at the time, Peyton Manning was a Colts player, at least before the neck injury.
Sure.
And we were like, oh, yeah, Peyton, Colts go all the way, all the way.
Yeah.
And we were just talking, and actually I clicked with...
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that dude was like your best friend. You like Peyton Manning? Yeah, I like Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh, okay.
We were best friends we're still best friends.
Cool.
And we're just... I felt like it was more at home. Like
Okay.
I'm not sure why. It was just...
You know, that's the feel that you'll have when you start visiting universities and different football programs and stuff. I tell guys, some place that you might think this is where I want to go, you get there and maybe it's not the feel. You know, you don't like the coaches. You don't get a good feel from the teachers or your professors, stuff like that. And then there's another place that you might not even be on your radar. And then you get there and you're like you just said, wow, this feels like home. You know, I feel like I can really grow here, not only as a football player, but as a man, you know, and as a student as well. Okay. How did the 8th grade season go for you?
We won 3 games out of 10.
Okay.
Which was,
all right. That's okay.
not
That's
that
okay.
good. But I remember just every game, like,
What number were you?
I was actually, my goal was to be number 17 because in my mind I had this method. Since I was a Colts fan.
Okay. Phillip Rivers, I'm thinking right now.
And in my mind, a Colts fan. The first, like, great quarterback from the Colts was back in, like, 1920 when they had Johnny Unitas, number 19. And in between Johnny Unitas to today, they had some really, really bad choices at quarterback. And then they...
Oh, for the Colts, yeah.
For the Colts. And they drafted a bunch of busts. And then in 1998, ironically the year I was born, they drafted some tall rookie from Tennessee University and Peyton Manning.
Oh, he wasn't just some tall rookie. He was the man. He was the man of... Like the way they were talking about Andrew Luck when he got drafted, they were talking about him except more. Like Manning was, because his dad was a Hall of Famer quarterback in college and, you know, played for the Saints and was just all everything. And Peyton Manning was a huge deal, just like he is now.
I remember thinking, I was like, okay, Johnny Unitas, 19. Peyton Manning, 18. I was like, okay, I'm just going to predict right now. I was like, there's going to be a few bad quarterbacks, and then I'm going to get drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, being number 17.
Beautiful. I like it.
Keeping the little tradition of 19, 18, 17.
I like it. Very cool.
That's why I picked 17.
Okay.
And so...
You and Tyler Vitt at MacArthur are my only 17s. And I look at those 17s and I'm like... I don't know if I would have picked that number, you know. But you know, same response from Tyler too. He's like, "Man, I think it's cool. I love it." And I was like, "Well, you know what? As long as you're confident with it and you got a cool story like you do, then yeah, you make it work for yourself." Yeah, we're probably a little too into numbers, but oh well, I love it. Okay, you're number 17. You guys went 3-8, no, 3-7, 3-7. But you're creating a bond with these guys, this brotherhood that you're enjoying.
And I remember, just talking to everyone in halftime because our coaches went off to the side and just talked to themselves about the game plan. And I just remember the first game, it was versus Sachs. And I remember thinking, like, okay, the score is 14-7. I was like, we could just keep up with these guys. I remember at halftime, felt like Drew Brees coming over like a speech and, you know, pumping everyone up. We lost, but I mean, it was still a fun game. Like,
sure.
I felt like it was back and forth.
Yeah.
And I remember just like from then I was like, okay, I could talk to these guys the way I could.
Good. You felt like you said at home. Did you play any other sports, or is that still football?
Actually, 8th grade year, I did track.
How was that?
It was terrible.
Terrible.
It was so much running. I was so not ready.
But it's good for you guys though, because it helps with your speed, your conditioning, and I don't care what people say, the better athlete you are, the faster you are, the better it is going to be for your game. Yeah.
I remember walking into tracks like, oh, I got this. I was like,
yeah.
I'm in
ain't no joke.
And then I remember running with everyone. I was like, okay, just give me a little timeout. Just a little breather.
Especially when you start doing those kind of longer sprints, like anywhere from that 200 to 400 range, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like we have to do 10 more of those, and we don't get the break in between. It's very difficult. Okay. Track and football, Now you're making that move to high school. What did you knew you were going to Cornerstone?
Yeah.
Okay. What were your feelings? I'm going to high school now.
My feelings was like, okay, I'm gonna stay behind this sophomore quarterback who's doing pretty good.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stay behind him. I'm gonna learn the offense.
Mhm.
Like, I had a plan. I was like, I'm gonna learn the offense. I'm gonna go in the weight room and get big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna have fun and just chill out because we had no JV because we had a really small team.
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? Every practice was a game for me, and I always tried like perfect.
You had a freshman team though, right?
Now we do, yeah, just because we have.
Oh, but
numbers.
you didn't when you got there.
No.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
all I did was practice and played special teams.
Oh,
And
wow, okay.
I just remember every practice, like, because they needed to scout players, and I was like, I'm gonna make every pass. I'm gonna throw a pretty spiral.
Well, for people that don't know, Cornerstone's a private school here in San Antonio. There's some private schools like Antonian that are a decent size. They're probably the size of maybe a 3 or 4A school.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are on your team right now on varsity?
Right now we have about 40.
Okay, so that's a decent amount. And you have a freshman team too.
And we have a freshman team now.
Okay, how about 20 on that team? What?
20.
Okay. Okay, so that's pretty decent. So you guys have definitely gotten bigger since you've been there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So you get there. You're a freshman. You say you're gonna take your time. You're gonna hit the weight room. How is that? You started lifting weights at this time, or?
Yeah, I started benching with my best friends from middle school ball, and I just remember benching with them. But again, they were.
You doing other things besides bench, or?
No, well, no.
That was it.
That was
bench
it.
press.
Just bench
oh
press.
my
Just
god.
Bench press and curls gotta look good for the ladies.
Curls for the girls.
Because in our weight room we have a little window right outside.
Okay.
In the little bench area.
Oh no.
So me and my best friends would take off our
the
shirt.
Oh yeah.
Lift up those curls.
Oh, because those girls really care about that. Trust me, I did the same thing, and now looking back at it, I'm like, they don't care. They could care. But I understand anything that helps the motivation. Okay, so the way Ryan prepared quarterbacks is not the way I want you guys preparing going into high school. I don't want you just doing curls for the girls and bench press. We're going to actually do full body stuff to become complete QBs. We're going to train that lower half too, the trunk, the legs, the core. We're going to get all that stuff right. This stuff that's not fun to do, we got to get that stuff right. Okay. So you're on the freshman team. You're in first of all, how's high school? How's as a freshman? I mean,
it was actually really fun. Freshman year, we had fun teachers.
Mm-hmm.
New students came in just because the school started expanding and
mm-hmm.
just a lot more new people, a lot more people playing football. I made new friends.
So you're enjoying the private school, high school experience.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It was nice, making good grades. Everything going well. And then,
what was it like being a freshman football player? Was that different than being a middle school football player?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, what's the difference?
Middle school, it was kind of just like middle school players, just between y'all. Just football players and maybe the cheerleaders only know about the games. As soon as I reached freshman year, all the teachers asked what time the game was. The announcement said, oh, come to the high school game on Friday.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And I remember this is actually on Friday Night Lights where they tell everyone about everything. So,
yeah.
I was even if I didn't play, I was always kind of nervous.
Sure. It's natural. Yeah, it means you're excited and you're. Yeah, I used to tell my mom when I was younger, man, I'm so nervous. She said, you're not nervous. You're excited. There's gonna be a little nerves in there, but when you've prepared and worked your butt off, then you shouldn't really be nervous. You're just excited to get this thing going. Because after one play, then you're like, I'm good to go. Just got to get those nerves out.
Yeah.
But I always appreciated it when she said that. Okay, so you're a freshman on the freshman football team, and your plan, I'm putting quotations right here, is to just sit and watch and get better.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on?
That's what my dad says. Just learn the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Just be comfortable. And it was around, this is about game 5, and I'm still doing the same routine.
Mm-hmm.
Or game 3, my bad. Game 3. And then our starting quarterback goes down. And
so he gets injured.
He actually, I think, punctured a lung or something.
Oh my gosh.
Versus, I think, Holy Cross.
So he's out for the season and doing something like that.
He's done.
Okay.
Done. I remember thinking, ooh. I was looking around, I was like, I'm the only quarterback left. There you
go, yeah.
I'm thinking okay. I'll be fine. And it was my first game.
They only had 2 quarterbacks on the roster. You, a freshman, and he's a junior, I guess?
He was a sophomore.
No, he was a
junior.
Okay, 2 guys, and that's not a lot of quarterbacks on the roster. Okay, cool.
Well, we had other players, but the other players were playing multiple
positions. They weren't true quarterbacks.
But
okay.
Yeah, and so because it was me, it was our junior quarterback, and then it was a sophomore quarterback, but he played corner and receiver, and he was a lot more better.
Played other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he was great hands, great everything.
So coach says, this is during a game, you're going in.
Well, this is actually after our third game because he gets hurt, in the middle of, or towards the end of the fourth quarter of our third game, and I come in, and it's against like not a very good team.
Yeah, but dude, it's varsity football.
Yeah,
What are you thinking?
I'm like, I just got to complete a pass. I was like, as long as I complete a pass, I'll be fine. And I remember breaking the huddle and just looking at everyone like 5 feet taller than me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
5 feet taller. That would make you really, really short.
Okay, well, like,
I know, and it feels like 5 foot. I'm telling. I know. I'm playing.
And it felt weird because I was the youngest one out of everyone there, and I'm telling them, what to do.
Was it a home game, away game? Where you at?
It was a home game.
It was a home game. Okay, cool.
And I was like, okay, I just got to complete a pass. Said, complete a pass, quick little hitch route, game's over, we won. But
nice. You made a good point, though. It is kind of weird being an underclassman, like a freshman or sophomore, and giving commands to upperclassmen who are your offensive linemen, your running backs. It does kind of feel a little weird. And plus, there's not a ton of confidence there yet. So I felt like when I was in that position, like they could see right through me. Like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. That's kind of what I felt. But okay, you completed a pass.
I completed a pass, and everyone, at least what it felt like everyone in the huddle was all excited and happy.
I'm sure they were.
And actually, the first person to come congratulate me was my running back, who's now in college. But
nice. Give him a shout out. What's his name?
It's Elijah Salazar. He's playing in Ottawa, Kansas.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. I know. D3 school. I'm very familiar with it. Yep. Okay. So, how are you finishing off the season then? You're the man, right?
And then, so that was my first kind of start. And then my first game start is our homecoming versus Austin Regents. And I threw, I think, like 3 picks that game.
It happens.
I remember getting leveled on almost every play. And I just remember coming off the ground with grass in my helmet and grass stains. And it was at home. And I just remember being so embarrassed and just... Was
there ever a thought where... Because I've asked some people and they said yes. Was there ever a thought where you said... Maybe this isn't for me?
No, I thought I was like, I'm gonna come.
Beautiful.
I was
like
it. I was like, I'm gonna come up from this. I was like, I'm gonna get better. And actually, every game there was a little thing that got better, but it always came up with the same result. And sadly, we lost every game I started.
Okay.
So, which wasn't that fun.
But how did you think you did? Did you feel like you made the big thing when you're in a position like that? You're at a small school. You're a freshman. You probably don't know the whole playbook yet. You're not comfortable. Don't have chemistry built up with all these people. Did I get a little better every game? What do you think?
Actually, I thought we did get better every game because every game we played a better team, and we would lose, but we would fight till like the end. And I remember just always looking up at everyone and just looking at me with like so much confidence. I'm like, okay. I was like, as long as they're behind me, I was like, I'll be fine.
And what are the coaches saying to you at this point? Like
the coaches are saying not to die.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
Well, that's not good. But I've been there too. Yeah. Interesting. Ryan, here's some advice for you. Don't die. Okay, you complete the season. You're heading into off season. You're just playing football.
Just playing
football. Head into your off season. Is this quarterback coming back? What's that the kid that's a junior?
Actually, the coaches made a decision after the season. We all had a meeting, and it was me and the quarterback, and he was like, you know what? You're gonna play receiver just because he played track and he was really fast. And it was like he actually went to college for track. He went to Montana, and so
nice, wow. So
it was me and him, and he was like, you know what? We'll put the other guy at receiver, and we'll keep you a quarterback so he could grow around you.
Awesome. But, that's a huge compliment.
Which was awesome. I was like, okay, they believe in me.
Sure.
Which was bad, but because all the coaches that summer were all cut, all fired.
Oh, that does suck.
Because we lost our sports director because he got fired for a reason I don't remember.
I was telling my dad this. It's funny you made that point. My first coach in college that ever told me he believed in me was my quarterback coach, Jonathan Terrell. And yeah, he was very blunt about it. He was like, "Dude, I believe in you. You're my dude. We're going to win with you." And I was like, I felt like he'd given me like a shot of adrenaline and steroids and everything about. Like I just felt like, wow. And I just also felt like I'm gonna follow you I'll run through a brick wall for you're my guy, And it gave me this confidence that I never knew I had, and brought out this level of play in me that I don't know if I would have ever tapped into it. I needed to hear that, especially at that time. So to have those guys taken away, because I actually he went off to take another job So I didn't get to have him my senior year. And, dude, I cried. I cried when he left because I was like, dude, we're supposed to do this together. You're the guy who told me you believed in me. So that coaching staff leaves, so that's got to be kind of tough for you, huh?
It was tough. And actually, as soon as they left, there was immediate news that the coaches from Sax are coming down from here, which is Coach Marmion and all of them.
Good thing for a quarterback because at Sax he threw the ball a lot.
So I was actually pretty excited, but I was also kind of nervous because a lot of Sax players are coming over there.
Okay.
Here. So I was like, okay, I got to work harder. I got to do better. And I remember every day staying with my middle school friends, which were, we're going to be sophomores this year. And I remember just thinking like, okay, we gotta hit the weight room. We gotta play football every day and just have fun.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day he came, it was around December. It was like January. It was around January. It was after New Year's, and I remember him having a meeting during lunch. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, we'll see what he looks like, because I don't remember really looking at him and being like, you're gonna be a coach.
Okay.
Like I didn't really pay attention to the coaches every time I shake hands. I just.
Okay.
So
we need to get better at that.
Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at him, and I was like, okay, you look kind of scary.
Okay.
Because he has that whole chin.
Yeah.
The whole when he gets mad.
Sure.
And he's talking about what we're gonna plan on doing and stuff like that. And I remember he had this sign-up sheet where it said name, position, and then phone number.
Okay.
And I remember being like one of the last ones to get the paper, and there was like maybe 5 quarterbacks trying.
Really?
I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm fine. I was like, I've already played varsity.
You should have wrote the quarterback.
The quarterback.
Yeah.
No, I just wrote QB.
Okay, no, I'm just joking. Yeah.
And I remember writing that down, and I remember being like, okay, it's gonna be a little bit different this year. And I remember, I think two or three quarterbacks were still left around spring football. I remember playing with them with 7-on-7 and thinking like, okay, I'm the upperclassman. I was like, I should, somewhat teach them the ropes, at least what I know.
Okay.
Being a sophomore.
You're nicer than me. I wouldn't have taught anyone the ropes. I'm not a big believer unless I am a couple years older than somebody. That's my job. I don't want anyone near me. Learn on your own because I did type of thing. But you're a nice guy. Okay. So
because they're both freshmen and I'm a sophomore. I'm like, okay, it's like this is what we did. This is what we plan on doing. And then I remember sophomore year being told preseason that you're starting again. And I remember being so happy, all the adrenaline. I was ready to play like right then and there.
Real quick. So then that's what I met you. You were going.
I was going into
your sophomore year. So I think I met you spring of your freshman year, and you guys said we're gonna get this thing going. So then you and I start really training hard. Getting you ready for that. And we did. We really got after it. And guys, if you have not seen Ryan Huerta spin a football, you got to go to one of his games or go search him on. He's got videos on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel and see him on there. He's probably one of my top 5 spinners. When I say spinner, he's got the ability to make the ball blink like a kind of a flashing light when you see the stripes. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. So if you can't see him in person, I'd advise seeing him in person. Check him out online because he spins a beautiful ball. But the thing that we really crushed with you was those feet. We had to get those feet right. Had to get you moving like a quarterback. And I feel like we did a really good job of getting you where you needed to be getting into your sophomore year. So you start your sophomore year, your coach is telling you you're the man. What's happening? I'm
thinking okay, it's like I'm gonna take the team. It's like our goal is playoffs because I remember being in 8th grade year, not really hearing a lot of high stuff about our high school team. Everything was like, okay, I remember thinking that my class alone, because that's what the majority of the football team was at the time. Everything was like, okay, we could change the atmosphere. Nice. And that season we went 5-5, which was so exciting. Just playing and just doing great.
There's not a lot of winning. Let's face it. There's not a lot of winning that's been going on there. And you guys were a game away from making the playoffs. So to go 5-5 that's a big deal. That really is. You're changing the culture there, and that's something that's really tough to do. Okay, yeah. So you go 5-5. What do you think the biggest adversity you had that year was?
What it felt like the biggest adversity was having, again, still this little burden over my shoulder, having the older guys kind of follow me, kind of trust me, because there was, again, new people, new coaching staff, new players, and there was a lot more older players than there were younger, and I was considered a lower classman, and half of our team my sophomore year were all juniors and seniors, and I remember thinking like I need to find a way how to like communicate or have them like respect and follow me. And I remember that being like I think the hardest thing. Sure. Like it wasn't like winning or losing or it was having my team trust me. Yeah. Like when there was 2 minutes left on the clock, having them trust me.
And how do you think, because I think I know, how do you think trust is formed?
I thought it was formed by just doing, executing, the game plan and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a team will trust in you. Not if you're always the nicest guy, not if you're the coolest guy, none of that kind of stuff. If you're able to perform when it counts, you're going to get your team's trust, no matter what. And the more you're able to do that consistently, and the more you bring out the best in your teammates, then they'll just trust you forever. But that takes time. Trust just doesn't develop overnight. That's a thing that season after season, that you have to kind of work on. Okay. But I think what I told you, the thing we need, the number one thing a high school coach or a college coach cannot stand from his quarterback or from a running back or someone like that is turnovers. We got to cut down on turnovers. That's the big thing I talk to all my quarterbacks about. Is let's go back, look at our interceptions, look at our fumbles, all that kind of stuff, and probably about half of them we could have avoided. Some stuff you can't avoid. Some stuff bounce off people's hands or pads, and it's just there's nothing you can do about it because you're spinning the ball. But I think with you, I was saying, let's really work on this decision making, because you throw a great ball, the feet have gotten better. Let's work on putting the pressure on you heavy, and still being able to make quality decisions. And I think we did a really good job of that. So we were season's over. You guys went 5-5, but you decided to play a different sport your sophomore year,
yeah.
Right? And what'd you do?
Soccer.
So what's the deal? Your dad told me this because I didn't hear from Ryan. Ryan's like that. Ryan, I'll hear from him consistently for months on end, and then he'll go off the grid for like 2 months. And I'm like, what's going on here? He's weird like that. So you decided to go play soccer. What was the pull?
Just to try something different, because being a sophomore quarterback, I felt a lot of pressure, and I was like, I gotta kind of release it off. And
okay.
I didn't like basketball because I
One year thing. Yeah.
I'm not good at that. And I was gonna do baseball, but I was like, I want to meet new people. I kind of want to meet new players and stuff, like meet more of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big difference of people who played football and soccer. And
There's like totally different.
Totally different.
I remember thinking back to high school when you say that. The soccer guys were like totally different. And you still see soccer guys now, and I'm like high school soccer guys and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you guys are so different than football players. It's crazy. Not a bad thing, just different, Mm-hmm.
I remember playing soccer, and I remember meeting all these new people I haven't really seen, and just
at Cornerstone, which is not a big school, but that okay.
It felt like I haven't seen.
Sure.
And I felt like a freshman again, which was pretty funny, just because I was like one of the oldest guys there.
Well, and plus it's not your, football's been your bread and butter. It's the sport that you've been really good at. And now you're kind of going to, well, I'm sure some of those guys play soccer year-round and train with soccer coaches and do all that kind of stuff. So it's always a different feeling when you're not the stud and you're used to being the stud. I'm sure. I
was not good.
Yeah.
I was just really quick.
I was
just quick.
But you had fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Did you score a goal?
I scored, I think, 5.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest, what feels better? Throwing a touchdown or kicking a soccer goal?
I'll throw a touchdown.
Good answer. I was about to kick you off the dang podcast and exile you to Soccer Island if you were going to say. Okay, but you had a good time.
I had a good time.
Cool. And you kind of got some of that pressure off, and now I'm ready to attack this season.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys do spring ball?
We did spring ball.
How did spring ball go for you?
Spring ball, actually, this junior summer, or this past summer, I think we won almost every game. I think we only lost to Antonian, and I think...
Spring ball? You guys played?
No, spring ball.
That's 7-on-7.
Okay. Spring ball, my bad. I was thinking 7-on-7. Spring ball, we did...
Come on, guy, get with the program.
Sorry. Spring ball, I remember thinking, like, oh, guys, it's going to be so much fun, and we're playing, and, I felt a lot more chemistry this year than I did the past 2 years I was here, and it was good.
Awesome. And what about San Antonio's huge on 7-on-7? The private schools have their own league. The public schools have their own league where they go to a state tournament and all that. How'd your 7-on-7 season go?
Okay, 7-on-7.
And I went and saw some of your 7-on-7 looked really good, the stuff that I did get to see.
And I remember just what felt like throwing like over 100 touchdowns and just having fun with all the guys. And
Sure.
And it was pretty cool because we were all allowed to play different positions. So
Okay.
I played defense, I played safety, got
Okay.
a few interceptions.
Cool.
It was fun. And then we won.
Good way to develop chemistry, though, with your receivers, right?
Yeah.
Really get on the same page moving into the junior year. But, okay, cool. So you won what?
We won almost every game, and I think we only lost to Antonia that year.
Nice.
Like that 7-on-7 little.
Yeah.
And then it was really fun, and all of us were really excited about this year.
Mm.
I was like, if we could do this just with 7-on-7, imagine what we do with the running game and just adding just our game plan. I was like, we're going to be good this year.
Sure.
And our goal this year was playoffs and get just play playoffs and go far. And
See what happens. Yeah.
And this year, like, that's what happened. And
Nice.
actually, it was in the middle of the season. It was versus St. Joseph, and I remember coming in thinking like, okay, we just gotta play, play our ball, just have some fun. And it was a fun game. Like, they scored, we scored.
This is Brownsville St. Joseph. Who is this St. Joseph?
St. Joseph.
You don't know. You guys are insane. Xavier and CJ from Steele were on last week, and they didn't know half the stuff either. You guys are crazy. Well, let's stop real quick. So you're going into your junior year, and that's the goal. As I've been here, we've slowly gotten better. We've slowly made some progress. Now it's time to take it to the next level and take this team to the playoffs where it needs to be. When did you know during the season this is going to be different? We are taking that next step to go to the playoffs. Was there a certain time? Was it this St. Joe?
It was, I believe, like our third practice. When usually last year our third practice was kind of just nothing. It wasn't really that important. And I remember this third practice we hit it hard, and I remember just being all excited, and everyone was really energetic. When last year everyone was kind of mellow, but this year everyone was excited, everyone's hitting each other, everyone's having fun, and like it was like this atmosphere of just like we're gonna do good things this year.
Nice.
And just had this kind of like chip on our shoulder, just showing like we could do it too, stuff like that.
And statistically, you've had a really good season this year. Like I said, if you guys have a chance to go watch Ryan, watch him. He's a really fun quarterback to watch. Does it with his feet and with his arm. When you guys knew mathematically that you were going to make it to the playoffs, what was that feeling like?
It was like, a farmer finally getting crops coming up.
Oh, good analogy.
So it was like the school was all crazy about it.
Yeah.
The teachers were all happy. The football players, we had a little party about it. It was like, it was like now to finish it off.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Our goal now is to play in Thanksgiving Day, or playing Thanksgiving week.
I like it. Yeah, we were training early this morning, and I was going around asking everybody in the training session, what were your Thanksgiving plans? Someone would say, oh, I'm going skiing, or oh, I'm doing this, I'm going out of town. And it was specifically, this question was specifically asked for Ryan. And he said, well, we're still going to be playing football. And I said, I just had a big grin come across my face. I was like, that's what I like to hear. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so this Friday, you got your first playoff game in your career. And Cornerstone's first playoff game, I think you said, in 10 years. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal. And like we said before, winning in the playoffs at a place where a lot of winning hasn't been done, that's where your name and your legacy gets built. So I'm excited for you, dude. It's gonna be a fun time. My words of wisdom for playoff week is obviously you have to enjoy everything, but don't get caught up in all like the little things. Enjoy them, but try to keep to your same routine and know that the end goal is not to just have a fun experience, but the end goal is to win this game. Mm-hmm. And I know some guys who go through big, like you talk to, like guys preparing for the Super Bowl and stuff like that, and they just keep preaching about, we're just trying to keep it, we're not trying to let the moment get bigger than us. Not trying to get this day, we're trying to keep it as scheduled as possible. And that would be my advice to you. We've already started off right. I think, after watching film earlier today, we got a good understanding of what they're trying to do and a game plan for them. So, yeah, dude, I'm excited for you. Do you got any final thoughts or any words of wisdom you want to drop before we get you out? We're going to cut this one early just because it's week of the playoffs and we're in here late in the studio, and I don't want to I want Ryan to get home, get a good sleep, and prepare for this week. So, any final thoughts for everybody?
If anyone's listening that could relate, just be confident in themselves, because no matter what, like something's gonna produce, and you just have to make the best opportunity out of it, or best thing out of it.
Sure. If you've got a younger QB, maybe it's a shorter guy, maybe a shorter QB, one thing that you would have wanted to hear when you were his age?
Move around a lot more in the pocket.
Okay. So move around, find those open angles,
Mm-hmm.
And I think you touched on it. Don't use it as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Use every negative you can use as some sort of positive. So find a way to have a positive spin and become a mobile dual threat quarterback, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Ryan, loved having you in, bud.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, see y'all next week.
Peace.
All right, spinners, that's it. I want to thank my guest Ryan Huerta for joining me today. Don't miss your chance to watch Ryan lead his Cornerstone Warriors in the 2015 Texas High School Football Playoffs. I'm telling you, boys and girls, he throws one of the prettiest balls in the city. Spinning It swag is now available to purchase. T-shirts and performance wristbands are available now through my website, as well as my other social media outlets. Become a part of the Spinning Squad and have the opportunity to wear some of the same products that our YVQB Academy quarterbacks wear for training and on the field in the playoffs this season. On the docket for the next couple weeks, I've got a recruiting scout for the Army All-American Combine, a former D1 defensive lineman, a former D1 All-American linebacker, an offensive coordinator from a high school in the San Antonio area, as well as other members of my Select 7 quarterback club that have made the playoffs this season. If you want to know more about my quarterback academy or you're interested in training with us, you can find me at www.yvqbacademy.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Snapchat. If you're interested in being one of our sponsors, you can contact me through my website. See y'all next week.